last night on The Bachelorette.
It's gone. It's done. Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
Yes, it's over, everyone. The week that was before is gone. And finally, Tayshia's The Bachelorette. We made it. So now, we start fresh. We take our mulligan and see how things are going to look with a new lead. Not to mention, we're almost at 100,000 subscribers, which is gonna mean the face reveal. And if you want to stick around to the end of the video, I'll have more information about that, including an AMA. And let's not forget, I'll also be dishing on my top 4 picks, top 2 picks, and final rose pick for the season. So let's not waste any more time and get to episode 5. We left last week with Claire and Dale getting engaged and riding off into the sunset, while the rest of the men await to see who their new bachelorette is going to be. So, how are the men going to react when they see its fan favorite, Tayshia Adams?
Oh my goodness.
What?
Oh my God.
Yo.
Hey.
Well, hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Loosen up. I'm Tayshia. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, something tells me these guys are going to be able to move on from Claire real quick.
She's beautiful. Couldn't be better.
And somewhere, Claire's watching this at home like, ugh, turn this off, Dale. So Tayshia gives her toast, and we enter this new sort of weird night one where all the men get to start fresh and pull Tayshia aside to see if there's a connection. Like Ivan here, who basically had no screen time with Claire, but that's changing this time around.
Having you here, you are definitely more my speed. You look gorgeous.
And so many of the guys who never felt they had the time of day with Claire are excited for this new start with Tayshia. Riley gets a do-over, there's Jordan, and there's... wait, Blake?
This just feels so much more real in just one interaction with Tayshia than it was in 4 interactions with Claire.
Wait a minute, wasn't this guy in absolute shambles about Claire leaving just an episode ago? Now, the only man who seems to actually still be on the fence about all of this is Jason. But hey, he says he's going to give it a chance, even if his Khaleesi rode off into the north with Jon Snow. Next on the list of men you've never seen before but are getting their screen time now is Brendan. And he's happy to finally have some uninterrupted time on this show.
How are you?
Sorry to interrupt your time, but I need to borrow you for a second.
All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's
Sorry, Brendan, maybe tomorrow. Now, Chris Harrison pulls Tayshia aside to say, guess what? I've got a surprise for you.
Did you really think that that was the only group of guys you were going to meet tonight?
Oh my God.
Yes, there's another limo pulling up with new men, all of whom are about to be added to the mix of guys vying for Tayshia's heart. There's Spencer, who was the inspiration for the main character from the Netflix show You, Montel, whose entire screen time for this episode is contained in this moment, Peter, who... I'm sorry, it's still too soon for me to hear that name, and Noah, who, despite the stash, still makes Tayshia laugh.
I just wanted one more look before going in.
I can't with this guy. Oh God, he's gonna be trouble.
Other men who are completely new tonight are Damar, Ed, and... what's that? These two have been here the whole time? No, I don't believe you. Now, once all 20 of the men have settled in, it's Spencer who pulls Tayshia aside first, and he's really hitting it off with the new lead. But that can't be said for him and the other guys.
If I had a first impression, I'd give all to Spencer.
I mean, I'm not quite sure what Spencer did to cause this, other than giving off the vibe that if I was at his house, I'd kinda be afraid to open up his freezer and see what's inside. But okay, you know the drill. The guys get to sit down with Tayshia, and Chris Harrison brings out the first impression rose to add some pressure to the night. Zach and Tayshia make a wish, Ben and Tayshia dance, Noah is apparently a part of the Duggar family.
I have 11 kids in my family, so 10 brothers and sisters.
Hold on, wait. What?
But at the end of the day, it's new guy Spencer who's made the best impression on Tayshia and gets that rose.
Spencer, will you accept this rose?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Which is a pretty big deal considering, at least on The Bachelorette, getting the first impression rose usually means you're going far. And look, I also want to point out while all the other men were huffing and puffing about Spencer being new and getting the first impression rose, Bennett's out here saying,
"Congratulations, Spencer."
Bennett, you're a gem. A gem. Now, of course, this has been a very unusual night one situation. Normally, things head from here to the first rose ceremony. But tonight, there's one more surprise.
So, I'd like to cancel the rose ceremony.
So we're going to be moving on to a new day with no one gone. Also at this point, the show gives us a full preview for the rest of the season, which actually dropped last week and I've already done a full preview breakdown for, so go check that out if you missed it. Alright though, lots of good preview footage, that was all in good fun, but let's head back to Tayshia's dates and...
You should be watching Tayshia's first dates as her love story begins. But we can't do that right now.
Why, Chris Harrison? Why? No. Don't you do it. Don't you do it, Chris Harrison. Don't you dare.
Claire, come on out and join me.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So yeah, we get an after the final rose segment with Claire and Dale that, not including the commercial breaks, lasts almost 15 minutes. I won't subject you to that, so here's the highlight.
What is next for you guys? Moving in together? Wedding? What's up?
Obviously,
Babies.
really like.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
But for real, I honestly wish these two the best. Seriously, they got engaged and I hope they're happy and they are getting what they want. No ill will, but like, let's get back to Tayshia, okay? Back at La Quinta, it's time for the very first group date, which, like many dates this season, is going to be taking place at a pool. And this time, the Bachelor producers were like, hey, you know that scene from James Bond with Halle Berry? Let's do that with Tayshia. So the men and Tayshia start off with a little pool party, but Chris Harrison's here to say, whoa, you think this is some sort of kid's birthday party? Papa needs some bloodshed. Meaning it's another sports date where the guys are playing splash ball, a fancy way of saying water basketball. So time to slap on those Speedos, gents, and get to it. And this thing's getting rough.
His face hit my elbow.
Gotta love the logic there. Like Riley's calling up his insurance provider to say, yeah, it's crazy. This old lady just came out of nowhere and hit my car. And a lot of this date is then taken up by Spencer's cut and Chris Harrison trying to hold back his thirst for blood. But the real tragedy that no one's talking about is Noah's complete inability to hit a shot.
Noah, jacks one up from distance.
Despite all that, the blue team still wins and gets that extra time with Tayshia on the group date. All the while, the one-on-one date card has arrived and it's got Brendan's name on it. Looks like he's going to get to finish that conversation with Tayshia after all. Back on the group date, Tayshia and the guys have shown up looking really fresh. I mean, check out Spencer here channeling his inner Dexter. Now, while all the guys are getting their time with Tayshia, like Easy, who's starting to make an impression, and Zach, who's once again getting a good chunk of TV time dedicated to him, while that's happening, the Riley-Spencer feud continues.
I see guys like you every day. It's rough enough in my particular area that when we come across guys like you, we call you lunch meat.
Alright, somebody get this man a sandwich and let's move on from this already. I mean, Spencer ought to, cause even though he got the first impression rose, if he doesn't distance himself from this drama real quick, he's gonna be sent packing. Still, at the end of the date, Tayshia gives special thanks to Spencer and Zach for their time together that night, but it's actually Easy who gets the group date rose. Now, at this point, we should be moving on to the one-on-one of the episode, but we're actually going to cut back to more time with Claire and Dale. Okay, just kidding. Before we get to the one-on-one, Jason's been doing some thinking and he's realized he's just not over Claire.
I'm human, and my feelings are hurt. So unfortunately, I can't just flip a switch and say, Tayshia, here I am. Let me go start this journey with you.
So he's headed to see Tayshia and let her know he can't commit to this new experience with her. He's gotta leave.
And I think I fell in love with Claire. Unfortunately, she chose somebody else.
And Tayshia says she really respects the decision. In fact, she respects it so much, she's kind of upset to see him go because she can see now that Jason's really a man. But alas, Jason is moving out and headed to whatever corner of the earth his Khaleesi's at, to defend her honor and wait outside the room while her and Dale have snuggle times. So we're now ready for that one-on-one with Brendan, where the two are riding on horseback to margaritas made by Chris Harrison and ice cream served by Chris Harrison. Glad to see they're finally making Chris earn that paycheck and, excuse me, why is there, like, no ice cream in those cones? Either they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes, or Chris Harrison is the worst ice cream scooper there's ever been. Anyways, we then move on to, surprise, another date in a pool, where Brendan finally gets to have that smooch he was hoping to get the other night. And we move on to the evening portion of the date, where Brendan's nervous because there's something he hasn't told Tayshia yet.
I need to tell her that I have been married before and since divorced, and I don't know how Tayshia's gonna take it.
But almost as if it was kismet, he's not the only one at that table who understands what it's like to get married at an early age and then go through a divorce.
I'm actually a little bit more understanding than you probably think. And it's because I actually got married at a young age too.
Oh, wow.
Tayshia was also married and divorced. She spoke about this when she was on the show in the past. With Tayshia, she says infidelity from her partner was what ended things. For Brendan, he says it was his wife not wanting children, and that's what started to pull them apart. Which is just another point that makes Tayshia so excited with Brendan, as she herself has said that she wants 5 kids. And this date is suddenly going amazing for Brendan. So, of course, Tayshia whips out that rose faster than you can say Chris Harrison's margaritas, and the two finish the night smooching under the fireworks. And there, the episode ends. No rose ceremony this time. But despite all of that, despite no eliminations, well, -1, I'm still ready to talk Final 4, Final 2, and Final Pick for the season. For the Final 4, I'm thinking Ben and Zach, 2 men who, if you've watched my preview breakdowns, you won't be surprised to see on the list. And the other 2 are going to be Brendan, who's completely surged this episode and in the latest previews, and finally, Ivan, another man who's suddenly been showcased now that Tayshia's taken over. And of those 4, my final 2 are going to be Zach and Brendan, with the final rose recipient being Zach. Now, Ben was almost my pick, but after this date with Brendan, I think Ben now slots into that top 3 scenario, with Ivan heading home at hometowns. Now, why these men? Well, it comes down to what we've sleuthed out in the previews and what's gone down so far this season, and I'm going to be going into much more detail on my decision process here in my next preview breakdown video tomorrow. And of course, before I go, we got to address that we are so close to that 100k subscriber mark, and that means face reveal. As a part of that, I'm going to be doing an Ask Me Anything, so once you're done here, make sure to head over to the community tab, and I'll post a thread where you can comment your questions. Or hit me up on Twitter. Either way, I'll do my best to answer as many questions as I can in the face reveal video. And at whatever point 100k actually happens, expect the video to release within a week. I'm excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So that's it for this recap and breakdown of episode 5 of The Bachelorette, now with Tayshia. I hope you enjoyed the video, and make sure to like and subscribe if you did. I'll see you all for the preview breakdown tomorrow, and until next time, Bachelor Fantake, out.
It's done. Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.